If you're seeing the framer fail to fetch error, don't worry. This usually comes down to a few simple issues with the API connection, the URL, or the network setup. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact steps to fix the framer form error so you can get your project working again without wasting time guessing. And if this tutorial helps, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more quick framer fixes and web design tips. Let's jump in. First, open your project in Framer and go directly to the part of your site where the form or fetch request is being used. If this error is happening, the problem is often tied to the API endpoint that your project is trying to reach. So the very first thing you want to do is check the API URL in your code carefully. Make sure there are no typos, missing characters, extra spaces, or incorrect paths. Even one small mistake in the URL can cause Framer to fail when trying to fetch the data. Once you've checked the URL in your code, copy that API link and paste it into your browser. This is a simple but very effective test. If the link opens correctly in the browser, that tells you the endpoint is at least reachable. If it does not load, shows an error, or redirects somewhere unexpected, then the issue is likely with the API itself rather than Framer. At that point, you'll want to double check the endpoint again or confirm that the service you're using is active. Next, make sure the API supports CORS. This is one of the most common reasons Framer shows a fail to fetch message. CORS, or cross-origin resource sharing, controls whether one site can request data from another site. If the API does not allow requests from your Framer project, the browser will block it and the fetch will fail. So, if your code looks correct but the request still isn't working, the API provider may need to enable CORS or whitelist your domain. Another important fix is switching the API from HTTP to HTTPS. If your Framer site is running securely and your API is still using an insecure HTTP link, the browser may block the request as mixed content. That means Framer is trying to load secure and insecure resources together, which often causes fetch errors. So go back to your URL and make sure the endpoint begins with HTTPS whenever possible. This small change can solve the problem immediately. If the URL is correct, CORS is enabled, and you've switched to HTTPS, but the error is still happening, then check your internet connection. A weak or unstable connection can interrupt requests to chats and make Framer appear as if it failed to fetch the data. Try refreshing the page, reconnecting your Wi-Fi, or testing on a different network to rule out connectivity issues. Sometimes the problem isn't the code at all, it's just a temporary network interruption. After going through these steps, test your form or fetch request again in Framer. In most cases, one of these fixes will solve the issue. The API URL was wrong, the endpoint didn't support CORS, the request needed HTTPS, or the connection was unstable. By checking each one carefully, you can narrow down the cause and fix the Framer failed to fetch error much faster. If this video saved you time, please like the video and subscribe for more Framer troubleshooting guides, front-end tips, and no-nonsense tutorials. And if you want, you can also leave a comment with the exact error you're seeing, and I'll try to help you troubleshoot it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.